In another part of the world, in Europe, reports of women of sexual assault and robberies, actually reports by women of sexual assaults and robberies on New Year's Eve in Cologne and Hamburg have shocked Germany, with police now in crisis talks called by the mayor to investigate the usually quiet, idyllic towns have been rocked by accusations of sexual harassment. And in 2 cases, rape by groups of men who had planned attack on women. Some witnesses' testimonies pointed the finger at men of Arab or North African descent, an accusation that hasn't been confirmed by any official at this point, but nonetheless has bolstered the claims of immigration opponents in Germany that the country cannot cope with the influx of asylum seekers. Also sparking outrage, the comments by the female mayor of Cologne, who called to keep men at arm's distance to prevent an assault, called for women to keep men at arm's distance, and that women should maintain a code of conduct, which of course is a very backwards remark, but that is a different issue. First, with me in studio is journalist Thora Schröder. Good morning to you. I want to thank you for being with us. Let's take a look at the following report, though, from Germany. Break it down from there.
Some 150 mostly female protesters gathered in Cologne on Tuesday night to denounce violence against women, 5 days after about 90 women reported being robbed, threatened or sexually molested at New Year's celebrations outside Cologne's main train station and cathedral.
What happened here is terrible, but at the same time, not everybody who's here in this square should be incriminated. That's not acceptable either. The perpetrators must be caught and brought to justice. Measures must be taken, and we should show solidarity among each other, men, women, foreigners, against violence.
The incidents have heated up the debate over the record number of refugees, many arriving from Syria in the past year. Germany took in just over 1 million refugees last year, far more than any other European country. Cologne city officials said they were working on measures to avoid a repeat of the mass attacks, ranging from groping to at least 1 reported rape.
This morning, we developed measures together with the aim to never ever see such incidents here again. That's very, very important to us. But it is equally important that we will not have our carnival celebrations taken from us by such incidents.
Police said they didn't yet have any clues into who was behind the attack.
So far, we have no suspects, meaning that we don't know who the assailants are. The only thing we know is that the police officer on site witnessed that there were mostly young men involved, aged between 18 and 35, who originate from North Africa, the Arab world. This statement corresponds with the testimonies from the victims. They too described the potential perpetrators exactly like that.
German leaders have expressed shock over the dozens of apparently coordinated sexual assaults, but warned against anti-migrant scapegoating. Chancellor Angela Merkel has called for a thorough investigation of what she described as disgusting attacks.
Joining us live from Berlin is European Affairs correspondent for the Jerusalem Post, fellow at the Foundation for Defense Democracies, Benny Weinthal. Good morning to you. Benny, in Germany, reactions to this story, how much of the anti-sentiment towards migrants, and I have to stress we don't really know and have any specific details on who perpetrated all these attacks, but what is this raising in Germany?
Well, good morning. Well, the story has dominated the major media now for several days. There's a lot of activity, for example, on right-wing or extreme right-wing websites and that are stoking xenophobia, anti-Muslim sentiments. There's been some concern that might cause an attack. If you recall, the mayor of Cologne, and you mentioned this in the opening remarks, who called for a code of conduct for women, which is just plain silly and amounts to blaming the victim, was actually attacked by a right-wing fanatic during her election and stabbed. No, that's a great point that we actually discussed in studio a second ago. Thor with me, I'm a freelance German journalist living here. Merkel
How will she contend with this? Because we don't have all the information, but at the end of the day, this is going to raise so much animosity towards migrants. Isn't that the case?
Well, with this specific instance, she will say the same thing that she's said all along. She will say, let's wait who the perpetrators are. Let's not put anyone under general suspicion here. But it has been some kind of wake-up call for the general public because it goes to the core of our society, of our liberal society, about moving about freely and open in public spaces, and also about, you know, being a woman in this place, and also living a free life. And what happened there is just completely revolting. So.
And then entirely revolting. We have information about things that happened as such in Hamburg. But when it comes to reactions and, you know, and what will be done right now, how do you think this bodes for Merkel in terms of elections?
Well, this year we have some state elections coming up, not a general election, so she doesn't have to fear that so much. She's in a coalition with the Social Democrats, which is the other big party, so she doesn't have to fear any opposition from them. They're in the same boat. What is a concern for her is maybe the surge of the right, of the far right, and there we have the Alternative for Deutschland, AfD. They are standing at about, well, I think 5 to 8% overall in Germany, and that could climb.
That could climb in that respect. But again, you know, time will tell how, sadly, this is all the time we have for this segment. I want to apologize to Mohammed Kassim because we ran out of time, but I think time will tell how this will bode for her policy for refugees in Europe, which, you know, as it's all boiling up. When we